Roll call, please.
Good morning. Alan Barkstrom,
Here.
Doug Erickson,
Here.
Brian Ernst,
Here.
Jeff Hallstrand,
Here.
and Larry Palachuk. Thank you.
Okay, item number 1 on the agenda, public comment. Anybody? There's nobody in the gallery for public comment that I could see anyway. Anybody online? *6, care to unmute? Okay, there's nobody online wishing to comment. Communications. Committee members, any communications? The only thing I have is Mr. Hallstrom and Mr. Barkstrom. This will be their last official county meeting, committee or full board otherwise. Thank you for your service, both of you.
You're welcome.
I believe you've contributed a lot, and we're going to miss you both.
I'll second that.
I get one more going.
Okay, moving along. There's no other communications from committee members. Item number 2, meeting minutes from March 12th, 2026. Looking for a motion to approve. Motion by Palachuk,
Second.
second by Barkstrom. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor of approving the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up, if it's okay with committee members, we're going to move item number 7 to right now. Bug tussle update with Jesse Lane. He's got meetings scheduled later and would like to present now unless there's opposition. We're going to let him. Okay.
So I'll do kind of a quick introduction. So Jesse is the representative from Bug Tussle. As many of you know, we've been talking now over the last month more with Bug Tussle and the Bug Tussle team. So we did invite Jesse to come on, give us a little bit of an update. He does plan on being in person on the 28th at the board meeting with kind of more of a in-depth, I don't want to call it presentation because it's not an official presentation, but just more question and answer and an update. So
for the full board.
For the full board.
And it's always nice to look somebody in the eye.
Yeah. We want him here to be nice to him and ask all the questions. But just kind of background between the chair, vice chair, myself, we've met with the Bug Tussle team. We talked about this already, I think last meeting, but we've met with them. I've met with them several times to just kind of look at what our project's looking like and what our options are. So I'll turn it over to Jesse, and if there's questions for him, feel free to ask. And kind of, if you want to give us an update, that'd be great. Thanks.
Awesome. I appreciate that, Nick. As he said, my name is Jesse Lane. Just short introduction for me, VP of Strategic Development. I'm going to work alongside the county, mainly in the communication roles, but also as these products roll out. So if we roll out a large fixed wireless product, if there's fiber in the future or anything of that nature, I'll be directly tied to the rollout of these products, making sure that the community is aware and making sure that, the product take rates and things of that nature that the county has an interest in are there as well. So sort of the update that I have for you here. I do want to preface all this. I'm not a network engineer. So if anything doesn't sound right to you or you have questions, please do let me know. Happy to take these back to the team and get a better explanation on some of these items. And as Nick said, a lot of these items will have better detail included in them come the meeting on the 28th there. So right now what we're looking at, we have 6 proposed tower locations as viable county for your EMS and 911 radio locations. We got the map, the propagation map from Northway. We're using that. Those 6 locations by name are Catawba, Addison Road, Musser Lake, McCollum Lake, Swamp Road, and Pike Lake. So sort of where we're at on each of those right now, the Catawba, is that how you say that? Catawba? Yep, that tower is stacked and all the civil work is complete. That one's just pending wireless equipment currently. The Addison Road site is leased. Lease is done. All the civil work is pending. Musser Lake, McComb Lake, Swamp Road, and Pike Lake are all still in the process of site acquisition with leases pending for them. So currently what we're doing right now, sort of where we're at in this whole process, is we're preparing a proposal for AT&T to come in and co-locate on all of these towers. That's really important to the viability of the project in its totality. Because, as much as we want to provide service, Nick, we've discussed a lot, just as important as making sure that we can pay back the county for any of the money that we do spend. So we're preparing for that proposal. Hopefully I have a better update to give you on sort of where that lies the next time we talk. But that's currently where we're at. And then
Jesse,
Yeah, go
just a quick clarification. You're not paying back the county. You'd be paying
Correct.
back the bond in the county's name. So I don't want people to think that we've handed you our own money and we're trying to get it back. We're just co-signers on a bond that you are responsible for. So you're paying back the bond, not the county.
That is correct. Thank you for that, Nick. So then a couple of the questions that we're currently working on, is there going to be co-location space necessary for the county equipment? That's obviously not a question. That's something we're making sure of right now, but it's something we're working through. And then making sure there's co-location space necessary for the tower radio equipment as well for these co-locators are just two of the things that they have on the list that, just to give the county here an idea of sort of what we're working through at the moment with the actual tower structures themselves. And then lastly, fiber backhaul for the towers. As you know, we don't have any fiber in Price County currently, so it's something we need to meet with some of the other fiber carriers or fiber players in Price County to see if there's any fiber backhaul opportunities to go between these sites. Otherwise, there will be some work to be done on the microwave backhaul end, so wireless backhaul, if that's not an option right now. So that's sort of where we sit with everything in totality in these 6 towers right now. I'm happy to take if you have any questions or anything you want me to bring back to the team as well to ask, or any additional items that you'd like me to be able to present on when we do this again in person with the full board. Please do let me know.
I have one question. Time frame. When are we talking this would all be completed?
I can't give a good date on completion of everything. We're really trying to move it along. The big player in this right now is going to be this proposal to AT&T. They're not always the quickest to move and jump on these things. We're really hoping within the coming months here, really during the summer, that we have a deal locked down and we know what we're going to be doing. As for completion date, I couldn't give you I wouldn't feel comfortable at least committing the build team. That's something I can ask for a better timeline for, maybe a structured timeline of something like, hey, this is what we're targeting for agreements. This is what we're targeting to break ground. This is what we target to have it done. I could probably get you something like that worked out by the planning and development team themselves for the upcoming meeting.
That'd be good.
I think that'd be a good idea, because when we met with, I don't know, there was 9 or 10 of your company people,
Mhm.
we were told we were going to get some kind of I guess you'd say, concrete plan of a timeline within 60 days, and the 60 days
Yep.
is almost expired. And then another question I have is this all contingent on AT&T coming on board? What if you don't come to an agreement? Is this project going to be a total fail or put on the back burner? How's that going to work? Or if you can answer that.
Yeah, I can answer some of it. I can't speak in the totality. I know AT&T is really important to the design and plan that we're really forward facing in right now. I don't want to say it would fall through because there's other co-locators available. And there is some plans that we've had that could make fixed wireless a play within the county to improve the project viability. So I don't want to say if AT&T didn't co-locate that the project would fall through, and it definitely wouldn't be put on the back burner. That's the number one commitment that we've given here is we want to make this work. That's the number one goal, to make this work. Regardless if AT&T can come on or not, we'll continue to explore options there and try to make this work. The only thing that I could tell you for sure is that this is the sort of forward-facing strategy and where we're at right now. This is the desired path forward. I think if AT&T didn't come on, it would just require some, a little bit of a pivot there. And the timeline is not lost on us. I do know that we committed to a hard deadline of 45 to 60 days with you, and we do still plan to have a concrete plan in place for you.
And we definitely need that because our EMS system is antique and we got to move forward. We have to have concrete information so we can decide whether to go forward with our upgrade on our own or with you guys. And
Yeah.
I think what we've given you like 3 years already, has it been at least since we started this?
Yeah, I understand. It's been slow moving, and Nick has really stressed the importance of the timeline here that this needs to get done, very much sooner rather than later. So we are doing our best to try to make really good progress in the short term here, and I will bring that to the team that you're still really looking at that deadline and be sure that I have something to show.
Yeah, we definitely need some because I can't stress it enough. We're
Mhm.
basically getting into dire straits with our equipment.
Understood.
One thing too to understand is in the background, the meetings I've been having with Bug Tussle, we're really working on getting an updated pro forma and some of the other, like the construction schedule. So what we're hearing today in this meeting is a summary, a very, very high level summary of the actual work that's going on with Bug Tussle's team, our team here at the county. So, we've had, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours worth of meetings outside of this 10-minute discussion, that there's a lot more going on than just they're working on it. They are working on it. There's a lot of expectations that have been put forward. We're working with other counties. So we've kind of, I don't want to call it a co-op, but all the Bug Tussle related counties have gotten together and we're now working. We're meeting with the Bug Tussle team next Wednesday. I think it is two Wednesdays from now. But there's a lot going on that's really been a positive to see things. We're back on track to at least having a good communication with Bug Tussle, which has been a positive. Any other questions for Jesse?
Hearing none, should we move on? Anybody have any last words? I'll have the last word. We need a timeline and we need it in concrete because I know I've said it, but I'm going to say it again. We're in dire straits.
Understood. I will work on that for you.
Very good. Well, thank you for your information today and look forward to the update, I guess, a week from Tuesday.
Yeah, I look forward to meeting everybody in person. Thank you.
You bet. Have a good day.
Just a last note, and we're still gone with Jesse. Jesse's kind of Mitch Olson's replacement. So Mitch Olson's still with the company. He's been reassigned to a different area, doing whatever. So that's why we have Jesse. We've also there was a Megan or a Heather. I can't remember her name.
I think it was Megan.
Megan, and then one other individual. We've had Jesse now for a couple months. He's been great to work with. So hopefully that momentum continues. And like you said, if we have a concrete timeline, that works with what we need for our radio system, which we'll talk about a little later on the agenda. There's momentum, which is good.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 3 on the agenda then, treasurer's report. Renee.
Good morning. The reports, the treasurer report and the financial report were sent in your packets. I don't think there's anything to really draw attention to unless you have any questions on any of the numbers that you would have seen. We continue to have our CDs structured in a ladder formation like we discussed, I believe, last month, talking about as those come to maturity, reinvesting them in between PMA and looking to seek out local opportunities to bid as well. So I think that's moving along very well. And if no one has any questions on the reports, we'll talk a little in REM. Your updated in REM list showed 47. Another one did come and pay off in full yesterday, so we're down to 46. The petition has been drafted by our attorney and ready to go to court. So it's just going to be a matter of a week or two, I believe, before we are on the court docket. And then from that point, it will be 60 days till last date of redemption. Also ready for publication is the 2023 outstanding list. That goes to the paper very soon, actually. Any questions on any of those items?
Is there anything out of the ordinary that you see? Is this more or less than typical?
Well, so being my second year, this is significantly more than it was last year. Last year, we only had 30 when it was time for court. And by the time it actually came to foreclose on the properties, we only had 3 that we actually took. So fingers crossed that a lot of these are going to be cleaned up, but 46, I think, is a lot.
Anybody else have anything for treasurer?
Are those fees calculated daily then? Each day they're late, does that phone up or how does that work as far as late fees?
So the interest and penalty is calculated at the first of the month. So as of the 1st of April, they're added on and it's for the whole month. So they have the whole month to make that payment. The legal fees are monthly, so those get added on a monthly basis. And now, once we go to have the court, then everything has to be certified mail. So there'll be publication fees, certified mail fees being added on. So some are daily, depending on
Yeah.
what we're doing in the process.
And
but-
so I mean, each month it costs them more.
Oh, yes, yes, each month it is costing more. And we do tell people that the ones, there've probably been 8 to 10 that we've been in contact with that have been calling. And we tell them to make sure they call on the day they want to pay because legal fee could come in, publication fee, it could change any day. So
And at this point, there is no payment plan. It's pay in full, correct? I mean, or is there a payment plan that they could?
there's no payment plan per se. We tell people to pay what they can afford to do. And then we tell them that from the court date, they will have 60 days to the last date of redemption. If it's not paid in full by the last date of redemption, their only opportunity between that and the court date for us to take it is to pay all back taxes in full after the date of redemption, which we did have 3 people do last year, so could happen.
Anything else for Renee?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Renee. Next up, Register of Deeds, Sylvia.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
So April was a quiet month in the Register of Deeds, which is typical with the northern Wisconsin winters and sales. But we did, we still record 243 documents. We processed 57 vital record applications, issuing 224 vital records. Our straight sales conveyed was just over $5 million. So that was quite a bit less than the past. But again, with northern Wisconsin winters, that's quite typical. Some exciting news for the Register of Deeds. Last year, the governor signed our update to statute 5943, which is the statute that governs the Register of Deeds. So the governor signed that last week. It took effect April 10th. And basically what it does is modernizing the governing duties of the Register of Deeds. Some of the terminology was quite old. So the Register of Deeds Association, along with several of our business partners, have been working over the last 2+ years in order to get this through the legislature, and happy to say that it passed the legislature. The governor signed it last week. So we now have a more modern 5943 statute. So
Any questions or comments for the Register of Deeds? Okay, thank you very much. Item number 5, Office of Administration, A, 2026 monthly financial reports. I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Administrator.
Do you have to? No. I will share here. It should be in your packet, the financial or the executive summary that is provided each month. It's up on the screen. Right now, if you go to page 2, nothing's jumping out. First quarter was a normal quarter. I'm not saying slow or fast, it's just normal. Nothing, TJ didn't have a server room issue, or building and grounds didn't have a major leak or anything that we saw jump out in the general fund that would be concerning at this time. So that's good for first quarter. Health and Human Services, the biggest discussion points there are still those high cost placements. We're seeing the same cases continue on, if not new ones. So, it's not going to be $1 million over budget, but it's going to be right at that budget or above budget again this year. We had one that's another 47 days, I think they said, or 37 days, that's at like $21,000 a month. So they add up real quick when you have those placements. We're still doing and we talked about it at admin yesterday. We have we'll be adding 2 new employees over in Health and Human Services under the is it CLTS program. So that program is, if you're entered into the program under the age of 22, you're on the program until you're 22. So, right, a year ago, we had about 60 cases. As of when we added this, we're up to 71, and those aren't slowing down. The positive of having those workers does help keep individuals in the home. So then that eliminates the costs that you'd see in the children and youth area, and then those placements. So we're trying to do more and more with state money. So that's all state and federal money through those programs to hopefully offset what we may have to use for levy. But in general, Health and Human Services, too early in the year to know if anything's way out of whack.
Question on transportation. Why is that? I see it's revenue and way up both sides expenditure too.
The revenue is,
Use your mic. Yeah.
Reimbursement?
no, we get, in the beginning of the year, we get our DOT grant revenue, which is about 80,000. So that always comes in usually like February. The expenditures, I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to look to
Is
see.
that like our
what-
BART?
Oh, probably. Our
So
BART
yeah,
stuff.
so
Yeah.
the money comes in and we get it.
Yep.
to
So
BART right
I
away.
can double check that, but you're probably right. It's probably,
That would
you
be
know.
our largest transportation
Yep.
thing.
I just see that one's up high there.
Yeah, and that's a good point. We have that in a couple spots, and vet service this year didn't have that. A lot of times there's the one-time costs real early in the year that really offset or bump your amount up, like your insurances, your auto insurance. So auto insurance, property insurance, workers' comp insurance. When those go on there, it might be 50% of some department's budget because all they have then besides that is payroll. Vet service always for their they always bought the flags to put on everybody's
Markers.
Markers.
Yeah,
and he'd have a big cost. Well, in his department, that would look like he spent 40 or 50% of his budget already in the first 2 months. Well, by the time you get to the end of the year, it averages out. So that would be kind of that situation.
Right. And those insurances have not hit here yet. Those usually in April, May is when I usually do the allocations. So the next couple meetings, you will see those
So
expenses go up.
For 2 months, next 2 months, you'll see a higher percentage than what it might be because of insurances. And then this is our first 3 payroll of the year. So twice a year, we have 3 payrolls. So the first couple months you're below, then all of a sudden you jump ahead and then you get back down to it. Other funds, again, nothing's jumping out. Still working with airport. They're going to be talking at highway. They are finally getting their front loader or snow removal equipment. It's approved by the state, I guess. So it's coming to us. But there's one expense on that Roger and the airport would like to add. Finance and I have talked a little bit about where that would come out of, and that's just it comes with a 1-year warranty. Don't quote me on the years, but like a 1-year warranty is free. We can buy a 5-year or a 7-year, and it's like $3,000 or $4,000. So to add it on, Roger thinks it's worth it. So it would just be outside the scope of what we originally bid. So we would just be requesting using the capital outlay money to do that. Highway,
I just
Yeah,
comment
go
on that loader. It looks like quite the machine. Looks like bigger and better than any other loader we've got in the county.
oh, it's actually on site. I haven't seen it yet either. I know we've been talking about it, so. Price County cash, hold pretty steady at, just $11.5 million. It is 7% less than last year at this time. We've talked a dozen times about the little things, either a project finished or we haven't received grant refund. We had to pay 100% of a grant, but nothing that has jumped out that were, high cost placements are eating it away, or what are some of the other health insurance, anything like that we have concerns about. Sales tax, all you have is January for the year, but it's $4,000 less than January at this time. Nothing. It's too early to determine if yay, nay, up, down, how we're going to do there. Stumpage, talking to Joe, there's quite a few people still working in the woods or have been working in the woods. Last year was a good year, so it's hard to compare. We're 38% behind last year, but if you look back 2 years, we're ahead of that. We're ahead of 4 years ago. So early on in the year, it just kind of depends on, is it dry? What are the mills asking for? What the road restrictions are, which those are coming off the 22nd. Yeah.
Wednesday.
So in general, Joe doesn't have a lot of concern there. High cost placements, we're at 73,000, which is less than last year. So hopefully we stay lower than last year, but we do know there's some bigger ones coming. AODA high cost placements, less than last year, less than 2 years ago. So that's again a good sign. We're seeing a lot of programs that we can utilize through the state and the feds to curb that a little bit. Health insurance, fund balance is at 117 right now. You can't get too excited because the beginning of the year, it's always very cheap for health insurance because people still have their deductibles. They haven't started doing their general checkups, so we don't see billing coming in yet. So for example, if you went to the doctor in January, you probably are just getting your EOB now. So you're always about 2-3 months behind on that. That's all I had, unless you have questions for.
I do. You're gonna talk about this sheet or aren't you?
Under the resolution, so under number 8.
Okay.
Any other questions for the administrator regarding monthly financial reports? Okay, we'll go 5B, NACO Leadership Institute.
Yep, just a quick update. I still am selected by the state and the nation to go to Washington, D.C. I will be leaving Sunday, May 31st, and then returning Friday, June 5th. Still going. Haven't gotten much for information. I just know it's 4 days of intense learning is what they say. So you start early in the morning, go till late evening, and for 4 days. So I'll give an update when I get back on that, but it's all covered by WCA, the flights, the hotels, the program, all the food. So, and I am staying one extra day personally and paying for it. So I'll be a tourist for a day because I've never been to Washington, D.C. I will be a tourist. I will be on vacation. Yeah. No, it wouldn't be fun for anybody to go because I'm in class for 10 hours a day. So that's all I had for that one.
Okay,
One day won't be enough to see what's out there.
That's what I've been told, but it at least gets me started to maybe want to go back, take the family.
item 5. Oh, I'm sorry.
Item
5C,
Five, yeah.
anything for updates?
Just a couple quick ones. We we had an appointment of a DA. So the DA did start April 6th. DA Nash, so Alexis Nash, has been here since the 6th. I've met with her a couple times. So far, a lot of positive feedback, so that's great. So she's up and running and ready to go. She had a timeline. She isn't exactly in court yet. She's shadowing just to kind of see our process. Some of the fun things I've learned. I asked her what the DA's office looked like in Milwaukee, and she was one of like 120 to 150 employees. So we have 3. So definitely a different atmosphere in the office.
Stand for election at some point, right?
3.5 years. Yeah.
3.5.
I believe it's 3 or 2.5. 2.5. It's with the other 2.5 years. So, yep. So she'll have 2.5 years under her belt, and then,
And she did move to the area?
yep. She's located in Price County.
Okay.
The other one I have is oh, go ahead.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yep. So on Friday, the governor announced the appointment of Amy Casey as our new coroner. That one will have to go through the re-election process in November. So starting now, they'll have to, whoever wants it, they'll have to take out papers. That will be on the November ballot because that's the year that it would have happened anyways. So until then, Amy Casey is the appointee and the coroner. And then whoever runs for it will be elected in November. And that one, I'm not sure the official start date. I didn't read the announcement. I just know it was announced on Friday. So it's now sooner than later. The last thing I had was the auditors. So if you've walked by our office, there's 7 individuals in there. There's 7. Yeah, 7. So usually we get 3 if they're listening. No. Usually we have 3 on site. This year they had a couple new members. They have some transition they're going through that they wanted to bring people here to meet us and get to know us.
So it's not the
I'm
fact
sorry.
that they heard rumors and they're digging deeper?
No. They just wanted to get it done quicker.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. No. So yeah, there's 7. Doesn't change what we pay. We still pay the same fee no matter if it's 3 people or 10 people working on it.
And
But-
it's not that these people haven't worked on, I mean, there's a few new, like you said, but they've worked behind the scenes, just they didn't come. They wanted to come so that we could see the face of all the emails that we're getting from them, so we can see who it is.
When do those bids go on?
They are out right
They
now.
are out.
Yep.
And May 5th, I think, is when we're supposed to be receiving bids, so.
And we have heard back from a couple that they will not be participating, but that was
We figured that the 2 that we heard back were not going to, so.
not worried about getting a bid or a proposal. We'll have one. That's all the updates unless there's questions.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Item 6, clerk's office. Meredith, updates.
Thank you. So it was a pleasure. We worked with the 22 municipal clerks for the April 7th election. They did an excellent job, as did the clerk deputy for the county. And I would like to send them all a big thank you for their service and their dedication to their communities and county. Elections included the Justice of the Supreme Court at the state. All 13 county supervisors were elected. At the municipal level, many aldermen and trustees, and as well the school board members at the district level. So the turnout for Price County was 41% for the spring April 7th election, as compared to in 2024 for a county supervisor election, it was 32%. So that's quite a hike. Good voter turnout all around. And then if you look behind on this wall, all of the machines for elections have received their yearly maintenance from Command Central. Basically, they were out there the week right after election. So everything is maintained, ready for our November and August elections. So those elections will be August 11th for the partisan primary and November 3rd for the general election. And everything went very well.
Good to hear. Any questions for the clerk?
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Item number 7, we did already, the Buck Tussle update. Number 8, resolution budget amendments for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2025. Whereas the Price County Board of Supervisors at their November 12th, 2025 meeting after public hearing adopted the 2025 budget for Price County, and whereas the Executive Committee of the Price County Board of Supervisors on April 8th, 2026 were advised to make various adjustments to department budgets and et cetera. I'll let you read the rest if you care to. Be it resolved by the Price County Board of Supervisors at their April 9th, 2026 meeting that the 2025 budget as adopted be amended to include the amendments as attached. And be it further resolved that the county clerk be instructed to publish a Class 1 notice within 10 days of these amendments, informing the public of these particular changes. Nick, you want to?
Yeah, so every year we have to do this. It's in our fiscal procedures. You should have 2 green sheets and then a sheet in between those that kind of tell you some of the tell you what the amendments are. Where we see the biggest amendments are throughout the year, you guys do resolutions, motions, permission to spend outside of the normal budget. And that's what all this is updating. So there was capital improvement transfers, the revenue to offset expenses, in the 103. So there's fees and expenses off. So it's just offsetting what you guys gave permission for. Then once those adjustments go through, the second green page is where there was actual, I would call it overspending that wasn't necessarily unapproved, but not a part of the resolution or about other things. So for example, on that second set, the first one is the coroner. We can't predict how many deaths there are or autopsies. So we do our best job budgeting. You guys are still have to approve that we use general fund to pay for the overage in the coroner's office. So like, for example, he was over by $9,000. He was also short on his revenues quite a bit this year. Information technology, I don't remember what that one was.
That would be a lot of when we've talked about it, where a lot of the software increased
that's
higher,
right.
like Microsoft and stuff came in a lot higher than what we expected, and a couple
Yep.
other ones.
So we get
that's
a
what-
lot of our renewals mid-year saying, okay, it's going from $5 a month per person to use the email to $6 a month per person. Well, we budgeted $5 or maybe $5.50, knowing that it's going to go up. Well, we're short on that software going into the next budget. So if you look at TJ's budget going into 2026, it's much higher. Doesn't mean we've caught it all, but that would be that type of example. Some of them are health insurances.
Mhm.
The biggest ones we always talk about is sheriff and jail. Jail assessments, a different one. That one's a fee that we receive money for, and that has actually a balance, a fund balance.
Correct.
So we could do an adjustment to it, but we don't. It just pulls out of that one. So
Yep.
don't
And the
look at
spending on
jail
that one
assessments.
was because we had some pipe work and
Right.
electrical work changing.
And so we have a fund balance because there's certain
Yep.
fees that inmates pay or tickets pay that go.
Yeah, we get
it's
it from
tickets
courts.
that go into a fund balance that are to do fixtures and things in the jail. So that's really a
Its own.
moot point on
Yeah.
that one. In general, if you just look at the general fund, we budgeted for revenues of 11 million. We ended up receiving 12 million. So we have 540,000 in positive revenue over what we budgeted. And then our expenses were, we budgeted 12.0 million and spent 12.9. So a little bit over there, but on $12 million to spend, we were only off on our budget by $300,000. So that's, if you look at the percentage, that's pretty good. You know, take it down to, if you would make that $12,000, we're off by $30, which isn't.
I got a question.
Sure.
Can we wait? Let's do that during discussion after we have a motion to approve.
Oh,
Is that okay?
Health and Human Services is the one that there's really not a lot of adjustments. We've been talking all year that there's areas that are over, there's areas that are under. But they did receive $1 million more in revenue than we expected, but they also spent 1.4 million more than expected.
Yeah, and this one is one, Health and Human Services, I could do the budget amendments because they do, like you said, they received $1 million more. I could have done the offset. We just haven't.
Right. So a service was provided.
Yep.
The grant pays for it. We just guessed how much services and how much grant we'd get. So those get offset quite a bit very quickly. So really the overages is the high cost placements that would be levy associated.
Okay, now I ask for a motion to approve the resolution. Motion by Barkstrom. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Erickson. Okay, now it's open for discussion. Mr.
Okay.
Barkstrom.
On your expenditures, way on the bottom line, total all funds.
Yep.
36, your, the actual is 36.7 million.
Mhm.
And the budget is 34.4. So that was our actual budget. So when I look at the difference
Get the second page.
between those two, it's only 2.3, but we're listing 4.9. I don't understand that.
Oh, that is it taking in
It would seem to me
consideration.
that they would, add and subtract right.
That column is taking in consideration the revenue, the surplus and the revenue, I believe. I'd have to do the math. Cause that column, let me look at the title of the column. Is the variance between the actual and the budget. I'd have to pull the actual spreadsheet. Why it's pulling that way. Yeah, here, I have to open it up.
Yeah, so we budgeted looking. We've budgeted 34 million in expenses and revenues. And by the time we got extra grants, extra state funding, extra offsets, we ended up at 35.8 in budgeted, but we actually got 37 million in revenue and only spent 36.
Well, maybe that's irrelevant, but on the positive side, the actual expenses was over budget, but you collected more than you spent.
Yep. So
So
between, like I said,
You didn't go
those-
in a hole.
nope. Cash a little bit.
But
we
I
knew
don't that should subtract out those two bottom numbers, I would think.
Oh, I know why. So the very bottom, the health insurance.
I don't need to see it.
Well, so at the very bottom where I've got the health insurance, the debt levy, the capital, those don't have variance in there. So it didn't take in consideration of that. Those aren't included in.
So
the
those
total.
aren't on the spreadsheet on the top. So there's additional numbers that are in that very bottom one, which
Yep.
is the health insurance,
Yep,
debt
yep.
levy, capital improvement that
So-
don't calculate on the top. That makes sense.
That's why. So yeah, if I do the variance on them, which I can do that and.
Thank you.
Okay, I got just a couple quick ones here. I won't call them unapproved, but we'll say
Overtures?
overtures that weren't brought to committee or board. Tax list, or how come that's so much?
I'm
Over.
thinking it's insurance. Well, no, no, I'd have to look into it. And that was, we'll be having another meeting where we talk about the overages and we have a resolution for coming out of fund balance. I just did.
That's a
was prep-
different resolution.
That's a different
yeah.
resolution. So I was prepping for audit, so I didn't go
Okay.
through. So we will have those discussions.
I think the overture for the tax list or maybe the outsourced mapping, that the
Yes.
vendor, we have a third party vendor doing our mapping now. So we've been putting that expense into the tax lister's budget to show so that expense can
Okay.
be.
And some of that gets offset in other areas, but not all of it. But we did that for the budget this year, so that it won't be an overage going
Well, but
before. So
so-
that was
It was something that we didn't anticipate when we did the budget.
right. So the
Gotcha.
timing was we did the budget, then we went to this third party doing it. And then this was the year we just had a meeting where it was like we had to file something and it was like 18,000 instead of 12, what it usually is. There was some others. It was anticipated but unbudgeted. So
Okay.
we talked about it. We didn't budget it this year or last year. This year we did budget for it.
I hope.
But that's where the conversation is like, at some point, do we go to a GIS specialist and have it in-house? Well, right now, if it's costing us 44,000, maybe a little less than that, up and down, a new employee is 100 and who knows? So that's where right now third party works. We know long run, that's not where we want to be. We have some ideas. That makes sense with that one.
And the other quick question is probably easily answered, but animal control. Is that just because there was more to deal with than anticipated?
Would that be the ARPA funding that we under budgeted it for? Well, yeah, we can pull the actuals like
That may be something that varies depending on
the
how busy they
year.
are.
Yeah.
It will, yes.
And they've been extremely busy this year. For those who are on law enforcement have heard it. But like Carrie said, this one, we didn't do a lot of the detail. This was just all the adjustments. The next one that you guys will approve next month when the audit's done is it'll say, okay, any department that's greater than 25,000 or 10% of their budget, we have, yeah. So then we have to come to you guys and say, okay, this 21,000, here's why they're over. So we didn't do that that's not this resolution. This one's just realigning for the budget or for the audit. The next one is the scrutinizing the overages.
The detailed accounting.
Correct. Yep. Once the audit's done and we actually have to get approval from you to spend it out of the general fund, cover it. I shouldn't say spend it, cover it out of the general fund.
Okay. Any further discussion regarding this resolution? Hearing none, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 9, RFP Courthouse Electrical Panel from Forestry and Parks / Buildings and Grounds. Who wants to take this one, Nick or
Yeah.
Jeff?
Jeff. Yeah. Go ahead, Jeff. Didn't we bring that one to you guys? Oh, we went through it. Either way, so Josh and I are working on, there was one question on the RFP still. We just wanted to make you guys aware we are going out, or we will be going out for the RFP. Right now it's predicted 18 to 30 months to get the equipment alone. So once we do go out to the RFP, and approve the project, it's a while. So I think with this RFP one, we'll line it up with the budget time. We know that there's always a risk, right? Something could happen, but it just will work better going through the budget timeline. It'll probably still be capital outlay project, but that way we don't have to do special resolutions and all kinds of extras. Right now, I couldn't even guess what the project's going to be cost, but we're well on the way of getting that out the door and bid on. So that's the electrical project here.
Any questions regarding that? Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Number 10, RFP Consultant for Law Enforcement Radio Equipment Technology.
Yeah, so this one, the reason it has to be here eventually, or I would like to hear a motion today that allows us to use the current bug tussle revenues to hire a third party to review all of our radio system, all of our emergency management system, and the surrounding counties, what they're doing, kind of give us a good inventory and be our liaison between the radio companies on what equipment we would need to make sure we're prepared for the future and we're not over purchasing or getting above our heads. So we met with Motorola a couple times now. I'm actually meeting with them again tomorrow with Chief Deputy and the Sheriff and IT. And, originally when we started talking, it's like, oh, this is going to be, $1 million. We're going to get all new radios and all this equipment and all this stuff. Well, their first bid came back at $3.8 million. And they started talking about these fancy handheld radios that work with cell phones and do X, Y, or Z, and they're like 18 grand a piece. We know that's the cost of these handheld radios, but we figured more like 12,000. Well, the technology We could do a million things with it, but is it useful here? Like, I get it when you're in the big city and there's cell phone service, 5G every corner and every building. You want the radio to work off of LTE and 5G and your radio towers, but is that where we're at? And so talking to the sheriff, talking to chief deputy, IT, all this technology and all this planning is way over our heads. We don't want to be sold a product that we could have got away with $2 million and we're sold a $4 million project that we'll never use the buttons. We look at it as a car, right? The trim levels. You know, the car still drives at the basic trim. Do you need the 47 buttons because the salesman makes those buttons look awesome, but the day you drive it off the lot, you never touch those buttons again? That's what we're afraid of with this project, is we're being shown all these shiny, fun options, and I don't know if they're right for our community, our area, or even usable. You know, they tell us like, look, it works, but is it going to work in the real world situation when we need it? So with this third party RFP, we're going to, the way I laid it out is they're going to give us that inventory, give us a plan, and then also review what, or, you know, help us bid out the radio project, whether it's Motorola or Kenwood or
So
there's
who's doing that? The RFP?
between the sheriff and myself, we've put it together, and we just need the
Oh,
funding.
you're not
for it.
asking for a consultant or anything.
That's what it would
Oh.
be, is like a third party to
Right.
do that RFP.
You don't know who that is yet.
No,
Okay.
there's several in the state that can do that. What we need is a motion to allow us to go out to the RFP, and that there's an indication that you guys would allow us to pay for it.
I'll make
Once-
that motion.
Once we get the RFP back, I'll come back with an actual resolution to hire a third party and where that money is, or how much that money is.
When you say get the RP back, before it's put out there for requests for bidding or whatever, we get to look at it?
You,
Because,
you can, normally we wouldn't, but
well,
it's up
I
to
guess
you.
I would like to make sure it includes, you know, satisfying our basic need,
Yep,
middle of the road, and then Cadillac, need versus want.
yep,
and
we have
what we're
alternates.
spending the money on, and we got to know what we're actually spending the money on, and that's the reason to have this consultant, because we don't know what we're getting, because we're not in that field as a professional, correct?
Yep, that's how we wrote it, is like, what's our basic need? What would be like our 10-year need? You know, we don't want to put in a system that's going to be end of life in 3 years because we bought a cheap
Right.
option, right? They're no longer going to support this, but it's cheap. You know, you're going to get a deal on it. We want to make sure that's what that third party is going to do. So that's how we've written it. Same with the RFP for the electrical panel. We just want to replace the electrical panel. We also want alternate 1, alternate 2 on that one. So alternate 1 would be, we'd be able to monitor that from online. Alternate 2 was, or there's like online, and there's stuff that Josh would like to see, but also knows it's not necessary. So we've done the same thing with the radios. Anybody that would want to see it before we send it out, we can do that, but it's not really a
Well, what does the committee feel?
approval.
Should we ask that it be brought to this committee before it's let out? As far as, you know, making sure that it covers what we're looking for? Or should we trust them? And I'm not saying I don't. I'm just asking for.
I think
heard-
it would
I
be
heard
a
you,
good- a
Brian.
good idea, just as a review, but have, in this RFP that you send out, are we consulting with the neighboring counties to
Yep,
where?
yeah, so
I
that's
mean,
another
Could there
area.
be a bigger project that maybe would save us all a little bit of money if?
Yep. So I put that also in the RFP as I was writing it, that this whoever does this review has to also check what the surrounding counties are doing, because I believe the future of dispatch is not local. I believe you saw it up already in Ashland and Bayfield. They've combined their dispatch center. Now both of their courthouses were 5 minutes from each other, so it's a little easier. But with the technology and what I've seen these radios be able to do, you no longer need as much of that local knowledge. Like, so we get dispatchers that are local and they know the roads and know everything. Well, with these radios, they literally pinpoint you. If you've ever tracked somebody on their cell phone, or this Life 360 is a couple things, it'll tell you how fast you're going, if you're moving. I mean, it almost tells you what your heartbeat is. I mean, that's the technology we're looking at. So what I see happening, maybe not quickly up here, but across the state, across the nation, is you're going to have to start teaming up with 2-3 counties and say, what's our dispatch center? they'll be able to get the 911 call. They'll know exactly where that 911 call is coming from. They'll know exactly where the officers are and who's available based on the radios, based on their cars, based on everything. It'll be, the maps will be updated to the point of like they're on Sherwood Road and they can go to Point Road or whatever it is. You won't need to know the officers personally or know the area because you drove it yourself. So that's a good point. We do have that in there that, yeah, it may not be this setup, but it is coming. We're seeing it across the state. It's the west side, so St. Croix County, Dunn County. There's 8 counties that are looking at centralizing some type of dispatch service already over there. It's the future and there's savings in it.
Any other questions? Mr. Polachek?
I would be content with having the Motorola or whoever we choose. I don't know, for myself, I don't need to look at it because they certainly know way more about it than I do.
I guess I wasn't looking or bringing that up as far as details of what we're getting. Is just, I guess, the outline of what we're asking for in the RFP is what I was referring to. No, I
And I
don't
can
claim
bring
to
that
know
back
anything
to.
about these radios, these new ones.
Well, if we can get the process going, I can always bring that back to next month, which is say, here's the highlights. Here's the
That would be good.
scope of work, or what is deliverables we call them in the RFP. What's the deliverable?
Sure. Anybody else? Somebody want to make a motion to allow them to move forward?
I had motion Bergstrom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Polachek second. You want to read it back to make sure we got it the way they want it?
I have motion Bergstrom, second Palachek, to allow administration to send a request for proposal, RFP, for a consultant for law enforcement radio equipment and technology.
Any discussion?
The question is this including the equipment on the towers?
Yep. So it's not only just like what radio we want to buy. It'll be, and that's a big part of this too. Good point. So right now we have 3 locations, right? We have a north, a central, and a south. We're at that crossroads where if Bug Tussle comes and says within the next 18 months you'll have locations at these 6 spots, the company that we're going to work with will give us, here's what it'll look like. Here's what your radio project will look like. If they come back, so we're going to ask them for 2 visions, one where we have towers, one where we don't. If we don't have towers, we know like our central tower needs to be extended 50 feet or updated to have more room so we can be higher out. We know that'll create a different level of equipment. So we could make it work on 3 towers, right? We would just have to buy more expensive equipment that pushes the signal farther. Or if we have 6 locations, it actually comes out to be close to the same or less because you have, I don't want to say weaker equipment, but it doesn't have to be as high expensive because you're not pushing the signal as far. So yeah, that'll be part of the RFP. They will be our advocate to work with Bug Tussle also and say, okay, if you do it, we go this way. If you don't, here's our other option. They'll have maps, they'll have coverage maps. That's part of that.
Mr. Bergstrom?
This sounds like it's an engineering study is what it is.
Yep.
And do you have any idea who you're going to send it to? Do you have a mailing list?
I've looked it up. There's about 6 companies in the state that are highly regarded in this. Was it Sawyer County just did this and they used one out of Eau Claire? I'm assuming that's probably
Do
one
you
of
know
our
how much they
bidders.
spent?
I want to say it was around 50.
50,000?
Yeah.
That'd be
But
worth
if
it.
they save us a $2 million because we don't need
Mhm.
a $4 million Cadillac.
Don't buy the wrong thing.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable.
Any more discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion regarding moving forward with the RFP, signify by saying aye.
I,
Any opposed? Okay, motion carried. Next up, number 10, carbon credit project update.
PSTD. No. So I've kind of given this update. We did it at Forestry. I actually did it at Towns Association last night. We've done it a couple times. Joe Grappa, Jeff, Brian, and myself met with Anu with Blue Source Anu a couple weeks ago. We are officially have credited credits. So there are 145,000 credits that are available to sell. Joe and I received an email a week ago where they were asking for information about who we are, what our forest is, because we're in an RFP for sale. So that what that means is the buyers are interested in our credits, but what they want to hear, and which kind of amps up the price or the value, is what are you doing with your forest? What's your intent? What's your goals? So if we buy this, what are you going to do with the money? And you know, giving better access or working on our campgrounds or a lot, you know, making it a better place to enjoy the forest. So Joe did all that work. I checked it, or also reviewed it. I didn't check it. I put my input into it. So crossing our fingers, hopefully we have a sale. Based on our conversation, and you guys can confirm it, it looked like the average timeline would be that end of year, first quarter, that everything would click and go through based on when our credits went on the market. Like I said, we have 145,000 credits. There's two pools of credits. One is, there's two different names. One is 22,000 or 26,000 of the credits, and the remainder of the 145 is the other type. It's just a different type of value. So the 26,000 credits has a little bit lower value, and I can't remember if that was the ones that were the growth or the old growth. I don't remember.
That's the new growth. So basically what we cut in the last year or so obviously isn't absorbing any carbon. So they and that number adjust each year based on how much we cut. So our mature forests that we're in waiting to cut are absorbing more carbon than the stumps that are out there right now regenerating.
Yeah. So from that, they couldn't give us a direct price or where our expenses are yet, but every indication the market is showing that $18 to $24 per credit on the higher value ones, and 30-40% less on that lower value one. We don't know what our expenses are yet. So first sale goes to the way the sale works. So if you sold $1 million, they would pay back all their expenses that they've had to create this project. So say it's $500,000. Then you net the $500,000, and that's when you do the 25%, 75% split to the county. So Bayfield just had their third sale. I passed it out at Forestry. Their first sale pretty much just covered their costs, but they had a much, much smaller sale. Their second one got them about $1 million. The one they just sold this early spring or at the beginning of the year was $2.2 million. So the market's still there. People are still purchasing. Probably the biggest driver of this right now is big tech companies purchasing. It's, you know, that's who's purchasing, is the big tech companies. There's a lot of other ones. Airlines are a big purchaser.
One of the things that I took out of the call was important is that just because we have 145,000 shares out there, credits to be bought, doesn't mean all of them will be bought right now.
Yeah, so you could sell 20,000 to a contract.
They could be sold in batches. They could be sold carried over. There's
another thing is there's a quantity discount typically too. They say.
Yeah, the more they buy in one project, the cheaper they get.
Right. So if you bought a stack of 20, you might pay $25 a credit, but if you bought 20,000, you might pay $21 a credit, but you sold them faster, quicker, bigger quantity.
Who sets this price?
The market.
The market.
Yep.
It's a commodity market.
It's a bidding.
Bidding?
Yeah. I'm willing to pay this. Okay, I'm willing to sell them. Or like Blue Source will go, no, that's not what the market's demanding. Or not Blue, Anu now. Anu will say, nope, got another buyer over here. We'll wait. The next set of credits we got, that's where we start to work with Anu and say, do we want to hold them a little longer and build up more, those type of things. So we have a little bit of say, but that's 2 years down the road. We're not worried about that.
Question regarding what Joe had to do. I understand that the prospective buyers want this information about us and what we do with our forests, but doesn't Anu already have that? Why are we spending our time on that?
Yeah, it was more of the buyers had extra questions. I can show you like.
I mean, if it's legit, fine.
Yeah. So we have a packet. So we have like a sales brochure of like who we are and what we do. One of theirs that like not in the packet, like how are the carbon credit revenue distributed back to the local community to help, promote environment or not conservation and grow your community. And so we said we put them into projects like our parks and trail systems.
Replanting trees.
Yeah, the replanting.
Well,
Big one.
I think we know what we do, but
Yeah.
I thought Anu probably had that information already, but it wasn't shared.
Yeah, it was just more in depth.
Okay.
That's not gonna add to the contract, is it? Like if somebody wants to do something else, what we want to know.
No, it's that sales pitch. It's sitting in the room going, "We're the better
Do
one."
this and you did that,
Oh no, that's not it. We give it Joe wrote them very general, like this is our idea, this is our intent. If you guys come back and say put it all in a coal plant, I mean, it's what you put the money in, I guess.
We could share our ideas, but until we know the specific amount, I guess we don't know.
Yeah, so like
where-
ours said, so far Price County has not received any funding from carbon credits. The county's plan is to invest in the revenue received back into the county. That's what we told them.
Any further discussion on carbon credits?
Yep, I'm gonna make one comment,
Yes, go ahead.
just because I gotta
Mr.
get my
Hulsey.
last 2 cents in. For those of you that will be here, based on what Nick just said, it's very important that this don't take this offensively, Larry, but we don't decide to just buy more dump trucks with it. It needs we look very favorable when we're reinvesting back into our forest. So the replanting program that we've got going on now can be better and bigger, and fixing up these roads and making more hiking trails is important going forward with that money, that there's a good share of it gets spent that way.
When your road does get plowed, take the hiking trail.
No, Larry, I just plow it myself. Just ask them.
Well, and that's a good one. An area we talked about, and I think that's something we have to get that resolution kind of moving is, so we've always discussed putting $1 million aside. We'll put it in I talked to the auditors about this yesterday, a allocated fund for like an insurance repurchase if needed. But all the interest on that, say we get 3-4% because we're putting it in CDs, that's where you're going to get the return every year. And that should go into like that access. So Joe's always asking for better access. It gets our timber sales higher. It lets people get into the forest. Well, that's an easy way to say, okay, on this $1 million, if we make $30,000-$40,000 a year, perfect. Give it to forestry. It's every year because we don't know if we're going to have a sale every year. Then when the next big chunk comes in, oh, we need a bulldozer to make these trails better. Who also uses their bulldozer a lot? Highway. That's when you can start doing something, is you've set aside that money, that residual that just keeps giving back to that one area that's really been lacking to make sure our sales are good, our access is good. And then after that, we can have projects and things that you guys want to do.
That's a good idea. Based on what we get back in, I think one of the first priorities is the forestry area should get favoritism because that's where the carbon credits this income is being generated from.
And just operational things that we've been trying to do, like the trail or not. And I'm not saying it should go to like make a better walking trail. It should be access. And that is one thing Joe has been preaching, is we need better access. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric both prove that to us in their spreadsheets, that the jobs that we have good access. I mean, Price County is noted by the loggers as a winter only logging county. We can change that by making better access roads, so that they can get in there.
Mm-hmm. Anything else as far as carbon credits?
Not unless there's questions.
Okay, next up, item 12, monthly vouchers. Looking for a motion to approve vouchers. Motion by Hellstrand,
I'll second.
second by Erickson. Any discussion? Oh, okay, I'll start. IT, it says computer hardware. Was that for the phones? It was it was doubled from like the expense versus budget.
Search the word like you see computer.
200. It's under IT in this.
Might have been the
Okay.
switch project or.
Well, don't worry, I got a whole list. Well, she's looking that up. You probably know the answer to this. What are $8 expenses in the DA's office? Yeah, so under district attorney, it says $8.
$8 account,
$8 code.
Yeah, okay. I thought that one would be easy.
No, well, if it was registered, right.
It's, oh, I take that back. I thought it was just, I missed it. It was
Oh, you
land
wanna talk about
information.
Your $8 account.
Was it an expense? Is that?
Yeah.
What, can you give me just a little bit?
All it says is capital outlay, $8 expenses, budget was 15,950
Was it pictures?
and expense was,
Dollars.
well, it's,
Yeah, so what the $8 account is for every single document that is recorded in the Register of Deeds office, the land information program gets to keep $8 of that.
okay,
So then we use that, like 2025, we did the aerial photography. That cost a little bit more than the money that was allocated through the grant. So we did end up taking some of that from the $8 account, which, probably was a larger expense than what we take in every month for the Register of Deeds. But then the 911 grant kind of offset that, if that's what you're looking at.
yep,
Okay.
sounds right.
Okay, I'm not finding the IT one that you're looking at. Oh, you're looking at that. See, I'm in the wrong thing. Okay. Yes, so, yes, this is part of the, big project that he's doing that we borrowed 851,000.
Yeah, okay,
So that's the start of that project. So I have it, it's computer hardware, which is the server,
okay.
so. Actually, no, I'm off. That is actually, no, that's under IT. So that is, literally computer hardware. So they might be buying computers, switches and stuff.
Computers. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a yearly budget for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's double.
And I think what happened is they're putting it in the wrong one. So
Okay.
Melissa puts it here and then I end up moving
Oh, I
it.
see.
Or
to
it might be for
So it's-
another department
Correct.
to like
Okay.
Health and Human Services
Yeah.
has a grant to buy a computer and then
Okay.
we'll
And
offset
then we
it.
move it, yeah.
We'll look into what it actually.
Right. Cause there's times that, yeah, they put it in the wrong.
I'm still in this, I got two more.
Okay.
This one's just kind of for fun and easy, I guess. Sheriff's Department is double their annual budget and postage. What happened? It's only like $500. That's not a big
And
deal.
Yeah.
they, a lot of times, cause if jail doesn't have anything, they put it all in sheriff's department and then she does a journal entry and moves it over to jail.
Okay,
Or moves it over to animal control, cause they send letters. So they
Oh.
post it all into sheriff's department when it comes through. And then they move it to their other
Might have been
department.
Okay, so
animal
it's just
license,
like-
Yep.
dog license.
past temporary. Then there's some red highlighted items on forestry, just in their budget numbers. It's not highlighted as an overage, but I'm just wondering why it was presented.
And then I have to look and see what the
I'm trying to find it.
condition thing, why it brought it up.
Well, we don't have to spend a lot of time
It's
on it.
179.
I don't think it's this.
This is forestry right here, right here.
Yeah, that's what does that mean?
I don't know why that's highlighted. I think it was just
Just the
maybe
way it
something I
printed?
was, yeah, it was just the way it printed. It was probably something I
Okay.
was looking at, yeah.
Okay, just trying to understand it, that's
Yeah.
all. Okay, I'm done. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions on vouchers, expenditures, revenues? Motion to approve. Do we have that?
Yes. Hallstrand.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. As of right now, date of next meeting is May 14th, 2026. If there's nothing further, Mr.
Chairman?
House, Mr. Barkstrom.
I just wanted to say that this is my last meeting, and I want to just tell everybody that it's been a really positive experience for me. And I thank you, everything, and a special shout out to the staff, Carrie and Meredith and Rennie and Sylvia. You answered all the questions. And you did, so it was very positive experience, and I thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Hallstrand.
I concur with everything Al said, and I'll just say that I think it's an experience that more people should take advantage of and run for an elected official and just understand, and it might calm the nerves of some people that just don't understand, because there's a lot that I was misconstrued on until I got here and actually see how it all works. And I do agree that I think there's a great staff here at the county, and people don't always realize that. They just think it's my taxpayer dollars. I got to complain about it, where there's a lot of really good things that get done here. So kudos to everybody.
Anybody else? Well, I said at the beginning, I'll say it again. Thank you both for your service. We are going to miss you. Enjoy your extra free time. And at that, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you.